said, you know, 70 is 70. She said, Judy, 70 is the new 50, and it's just a number. And I remember that.
Yeah.
And the people that I know who are older and spirited look like they were having a good.
For more than 2 decades, Judge Judy Sheindlin ruled daytime television with an iron gavel and a sharp tongue. With her piercing stare, no-nonsense attitude, and razor-sharp one-liners, she didn't just preside over small claims court, she became a cultural icon. Her show wasn't just popular. It dominated the airwaves, drawing millions of viewers every single day, and making Judy one of the highest-paid personalities in television history. To many, she seemed untouchable, timeless, and unshakable. But time, as it always does, eventually caught up. When Judge Judy retired from her long-running courtroom series in 2021, fans were curious. What would become of the legendary TV judge? How would she look, act, and live after leaving behind the show that had defined her for nearly 25 years? The answers shocked many. Recent public appearances have left viewers stunned, with some even using words like unrecognizable. Her once iconic image, sleek hair pulled tightly back, commanding black robe and sharp youthful confidence, has shifted into something far different. For fans who grew up watching her fiery personality dominate the screen, seeing her transformation has been nothing short of terrifying. But behind the headlines and the viral photos lies a deeper story. One of resilience, reinvention, and the realities of aging in the unforgiving spotlight of Hollywood. So what really happened to Judge Judy? Why does she look so different today? And does the shock say more about her, or about us, and our expectations of timeless icons? This is the story of Judge Judy, the rise, the reign, the retirement, and the transformation that has everyone talking. Before she became a television phenomenon, Judith Sheindlin was simply a sharp, ambitious woman navigating the cutthroat world of New York law. Born Judith Susan Blum in Brooklyn in 1942, she grew up in a working-class family that valued discipline, education, and toughness. Those qualities would become the foundation of her future persona. Even as a young girl, Judy had little tolerance for nonsense. She was fiercely outspoken, quick to challenge authority, and unafraid to tell people exactly what she thought. After studying government at American University in Washington, D.C., she pursued law at New York Law School, earning her degree in the mid-1960s. It was a time when female lawyers were still rare, but Judy refused to be intimidated. She married, raised children, and still pressed forward with her legal career, proving that she could thrive in a world dominated by men. By the 1970s, she was working as a prosecutor in New York's family court system. It was there that she developed the reputation that would later define her: tough, uncompromising, and completely intolerant of dishonesty. She often dealt with emotionally charged cases, domestic violence, abuse, neglect, and earned respect for cutting through excuses and demanding accountability. Colleagues admired her sharp instincts, while those who appeared before her often found her terrifying. In 1982, Judy was appointed as a judge in the Bronx family court. This was where she truly honed her no-nonsense style. She became known for lightning-fast decisions, sharp wit, and blunt scoldings that left defendants stunned. The local press began to notice her fiery presence. The Los Angeles Times even profiled her in the early 1990s, dubbing her the tough-talking judge of Manhattan. It was this attention that planted the seeds of her television career. Producers were fascinated. Court shows had existed for decades, but none had the raw energy Judy brought to the bench. She wasn't just a judge. She was a performer, though she didn't see it that way. For Judy, she was simply being herself, direct, efficient, and brutally honest. In 1996, television executives approached her with an idea: bring her courtroom style to the small screen. At first, Judy was skeptical. She had spent her life in real courtrooms, dealing with real families and real consequences. Could a television show capture that same authenticity, or would it reduce her to a caricature? Still, she agreed to try, and Judge Judy premiered that year. From the very first episodes, it was clear that television had never seen anything like her. Unlike scripted dramas or traditional legal shows, Judge Judy delivered raw, unscripted disputes, neighbors fighting over fences, former lovers bickering about money, roommates clashing over unpaid bills. And at the center of it all was Judy, wielding her wit like a weapon. Her style was electric. She cut through lies in seconds, shut down long-winded excuses, and delivered verdicts with a speed and authority that made viewers cheer. Her sharp one-liners, "Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining," became cultural catchphrases. She wasn't just a TV judge. She was a cultural force. Audiences responded in record numbers. By the early 2000s, Judge Judy was the highest-rated daytime show on television, regularly beating soap operas and talk shows. Judy Sheindlin became a household name, her image instantly recognizable. The black robe, lace collar, neatly pulled-back hair, and piercing glare. She wasn't just another TV personality. She was Judge Judy, the face of courtroom television. Behind the scenes, Judy remained focused and relentless. She negotiated contracts that made her not just famous, but wealthy beyond imagination. At the height of her career, she was earning nearly $50 million a year, making her one of the highest-paid women in television history. But beyond the money and the ratings, her rise signaled something larger, the transformation of a Brooklyn-born lawyer into a global icon. She showed that authenticity, confidence, and a little bit of attitude could not only win a courtroom, but also win over millions of viewers around the world. By the late 1990s, Judge Judy wasn't just a popular show, it was a phenomenon. Daytime television had seen court shows before, but none with the ferocity and magnetism of Judith Sheindlin. For millions of viewers, tuning in each afternoon became a ritual. They weren't just watching small claims disputes. They were watching Judy deliver swift justice with her razor-sharp tongue. What made Judy different was her authenticity. She wasn't acting, and she wasn't pretending to be tough for the cameras. This was the same no-nonsense woman who had terrified defendants in New York's family court for decades. Viewers sensed that honesty and gravitated toward it. In a television world often filled with staged drama and artificial personalities, Judy's bluntness felt refreshing. Her reign was cemented when the ratings soared year after year. By the early 2000s, Judge Judy was pulling in an average of 10 million viewers daily, an astronomical number for daytime TV. She dethroned long-standing soap operas, beat talk show giants, and became the undisputed queen of the afternoon slot. She wasn't just another television host. She was the show. Producers and networks knew that without Judy, there was no Judge Judy. With that kind of dominance came immense power. Judy was not shy about negotiating on her own terms. Her contracts became legendary in Hollywood. At her peak, she earned a staggering $47 million a year, making her not only the highest-paid TV judge, but one of the highest-paid television personalities of any kind. She controlled the production, selected her cases, and called the shots on set. But with great success came scrutiny. Critics sometimes accused Judy of being too harsh, of humiliating litigants for entertainment. Her scoldings could be merciless, her sarcasm biting. Was she dispensing justice or just putting on a performance? Some legal experts raised eyebrows, questioning whether real court cases should be treated like entertainment fodder. Judy, however, was unapologetic. She reminded everyone that the participants agreed to be on the show, and she was simply doing what she had always done, cutting through nonsense. The controversies never slowed her momentum. In fact, they fueled it. Audiences loved her toughness. She became a symbol of accountability in an era when many felt society was growing too lenient. Her catchphrases entered popular culture, quoted on coffee mugs, memes, and even parodied on Saturday Night Live. She was both feared and adored, a rare combination that kept her at the top of the television food chain. Beyond television, Judy became a larger-than-life public figure. She wrote best-selling books, appeared on talk shows, and was featured on magazine covers. Her image, neatly styled hair, lace collar, and stern glare, became iconic. Even people who never watched the show knew who Judge Judy was, yet behind the success, Judy also faced battles. Lawsuits occasionally surfaced from former producers or staff who claimed unfair treatment. Rumors circulated about the size of her paychecks, her demands, and her tough management style. But none of it dented her popularity. If anything, these stories reinforced her image as a woman who refused to be pushed around. For more than 2 decades, Judy's reign was unshakable. She weathered the rise of reality TV, the decline of soap operas, and the explosion of streaming platforms. While other daytime shows came and went, Judge Judy remained steady, reliable, and dominant. She didn't just survive the changing television landscape, she thrived in it. By the 2010s, however, whispers of the end began to circulate. After nearly 25 years on the air, audiences wondered, how long could Judy keep going? Would she bow out gracefully at her peak, or would time eventually catch up with her? For now, though, she was still the queen of daytime television, untouchable, unbeatable, and unapologetic. Her reign seemed eternal. But just beyond the curtain of success, change was looming. And when it came, it would shock the millions who had grown accustomed to seeing Judge Judy exactly as she always was, sharp, youthful, and unshakable. When Judge Judy announced in 2020 that her long-running courtroom show would end after its 25th season, it felt like the end of an era. For a quarter of a century, she had been a daily presence in millions of living rooms. She wasn't just a TV personality, she was part of the cultural fabric. To imagine daytime television without her sharp-tongued judgments seemed almost impossible. Yet Judy was ready to move on. At nearly 80 years old, she wasn't retiring in the traditional sense. Instead, she was reinventing herself once again. She launched a new streaming show, Judy Justice, on IMDb TV, later Amazon Freevee. Though the format was similar, a small claims courtroom, real litigants, and Judy's fiery demeanor, this was a new platform and a new chapter. She appeared alongside her granddaughter, Sarah Rose, a law clerk, showing that Judy was not only passing on her wisdom, but also cementing her legacy in the next generation. Still, fans couldn't help but notice something different. When Judy reappeared in public interviews and promotional photos for Judy Justice, the transformation was striking. Her iconic jet black bun was gone, replaced by a softer, shorter hairstyle. Her face looked noticeably older, thinner, and marked by time in ways audiences weren't accustomed to seeing. After decades of tightly controlled, polished television appearances, the change shocked many. Social media lit up with comments. Some fans praised her natural aging, calling her an inspiration. Others, however, reacted with surprise, even discomfort, at how drastically her appearance had shifted. "She looks unrecognizable," some remarked. "That can't be Judge Judy," others wrote. For people who had grown used to her seemingly ageless image on television, reality had finally caught up. Part of the shock came from Judy's enduring authority. On her show, she had always seemed larger than life, her voice sharp, her gaze unwavering, her posture commanding. Off-screen, however, she was simply a woman in her late 70s, living with the natural realities of age. It was a reminder that even icons cannot stop time. Judy herself never shied away from the topic. In interviews, she dismissed the obsession with appearances. "I don't care about wrinkles," she once said bluntly. "I've earned every single one of them." She seemed unfazed by the chatter, more focused on her work and her family than on whether fans approved of her changing looks. In true Judge Judy fashion, she had no patience for vanity, yet the transformation symbolized something larger. For decades, Judy had represented stability, her image almost frozen in time as the judge who never aged. Seeing her visibly change was unsettling for fans because it forced them to confront their own aging, their own passage of time. Judy wasn't just getting older, so were they. Outside of television, Judy's life shifted in other ways, too. She spent more time with her husband, Judy Sheindlin, himself a retired judge and former TV personality. She enjoyed the luxury of her enormous fortune, lavish homes in New York, Florida, and beyond. But even in retirement, Judy never truly slowed down. She continued to work, negotiate, and build her brand. Her energy remained formidable, even if her appearance betrayed the years. The woman who once terrified litigants in the Bronx was now the subject of a different kind of fascination. not for her rulings, but for her resilience. Her transformation wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. Judy had gone from being the queen of daytime TV to a living reminder of time's inevitability. And yet, beneath the wrinkles, the softened hairstyle, and the visible signs of age, the fire was still there. The wit was still sharp, the authority still intact. Judge Judy might look different, but her essence, the very thing that made her a star, remained unchanged. Still, for longtime fans, the shock lingered. The woman they had once thought of as untouchable now looked startlingly human, and that perhaps was the most terrifying transformation of all. Today, Judge Judy Sheindlin is in her 80s, and while she has stepped away from the relentless grind of daytime television, she remains a figure of fascination. Every time she appears in public, whether it's for an interview, a promotional event for Judy Justice, or simply being spotted by paparazzi, her appearance sparks conversations. And often those conversations are tinged with shock. The Judge Judy people remember, the sleek bun, the immaculate black robe, the confident, almost ageless face, frozen in perpetual authority, no longer exists in quite the same form. Instead, she looks very much her age. Her hair is lighter, styled simply, her face marked by wrinkles and the sagging skin that comes with time. To some, the transformation is so stark that they call her unrecognizable. For fans who grew up with her on television, the sight of Judy looking older is unsettling, even terrifying. But why? The answer lies partly in the image Judy created. For 25 years, she represented permanence. While talk show hosts cycled in and out, soap operas faded, and reality stars rose and fell, Judge Judy was always the same. Her glare never softened. Her voice never weakened. Her authority never diminished. She became, in the eyes of her audience, almost timeless. To suddenly see her as vulnerable to aging broke that illusion. It wasn't just that Judy had aged. It was that time had finally touched someone viewers had subconsciously believed was untouchable. There's also the reality that Judy herself has never tried to soften the blow. Unlike many Hollywood figures who undergo endless cosmetic procedures to chase youth, Judy has embraced a more natural aging process. Yes, she maintains her health, her posture, and her wardrobe with care, but she has never hidden the lines on her face or the thinning of her frame. In doing so, she forces fans to confront an uncomfortable truth. Even icons grow old. And yet, behind the shock, there is another reaction: respect. Judy's appearance today may terrify some, but to others, it inspires. She is still working, still sharp, still commanding the room when she speaks. She has not retreated into obscurity or allowed age to define her. Instead, she has adapted. She has moved to a new platform, continues to make millions, and mentors her granddaughter in the world of law and television. For a woman in her 80s, her energy is astonishing. In interviews, Judy herself has been characteristically blunt about the subject. She acknowledges that she looks different but dismisses the obsession with appearances. "I've lived, I've worked, I've raised a family, and I'm still here," she once remarked. That's what matters, not what's in the mirror. To her, aging is not something to fear. It's something to accept. Still, the disconnect between who she was on TV and who she is now in real life creates a jarring contrast. The once fiery television monarch now looks like someone's grandmother, which of course she is. And for longtime fans, that image can be difficult to reconcile with the stern figure who once barked, "Don't waste my time," across the courtroom, but maybe that's the point. Judge Judy's transformation reminds us that behind every television icon is a real human being, one who ages, one who changes, one who cannot escape the passage of time. The terror some feel at her appearance is less about Judy herself and more about what she represents. The inevitability of aging, the fragility of our illusions, and the fact that even the strongest figures are not immune to life's realities.